Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Upside Dan. This is a review double feature, so let's get to it. These movies are part of the collaboration between Blumhouse and Amazon Prime called Welcome to the Blumhouse. The Lie and Black Box came out on October 6th, and Nocturne and Evil Eye dropped on October 13th. Blumhouse is hit or miss with me and with a lot of people. Some good ones produced by Jason Blum and his production company are Get Out, Split, Happy Death Day, Insidious, Whiplash, Upgrade, Halloween 2018, The Invisible Man, and Paranormal Activity. Some bad ones are Black Christmas, Ouija, Truth or Dare, and one of their more recent films, Fantasy Island. Now, some of their bad films are still guilty pleasures for me, but they just aren't that good. Except for Black Christmas. Black Christmas is not a pleasure, a guilty pleasure, it's just not good. But overall, I'm a fan of Blumhouse. I love horror movies, and a lot of what they produce is horror. The Lie is the first movie I'll talk about, and that definitely falls into the miss category for me. This is a remake of a German film, We Monsters. I might give that one a little look to see what they did differently from this one. The Lie is directed and written by Vina Sud. When her daughter Kayla and her father Jay decide to give one of Kayla's friends, Brittany, a ride, their choice leads to some consequences for Kayla and her family. I won't really get into spoilers here, but take that plot synopsis as you will, and if you've seen the trailer, maybe you can guess what those consequences are for. Joey King plays the main character, Kayla. I've heard Joey King is good in things like The Act, but she does not put on a good performance here. There was a lot of bad dialogue and cringy acting by her. Peter Sarsgaard and Marielle Enos play Kayla's parents here. They are good actors for the most part, but honestly their characters made a lot of frustrating and stupid decisions. This is labeled as horror, and honestly there isn't really any horror in it. There are two scenes that I'll say did have some good suspense though. Without really getting into spoilers, Rebecca's house kind of had these windows at her front door. They're kind of tinted. I don't really know how else to explain it. They're tinted, but you really can only see the shadows that are on the outside of the house. There's a character that's knocking, and then this character tries to peer through the window to see what's inside. I thought that was a pretty suspenseful scene. The second suspenseful scene was when two characters had to go to another character's house to either retrieve something, return something, get something. I'll try to leave that as vague as possible. There was some suspense to be seen and had in this scene, although I did think it was one of the stupid decisions made by characters. Not only was that a stupid decision, but that scene led to another stupid choice by these characters. Another positive I can kind of say is there are some good shots and scenery in this movie. A couple of these cool shots are starting to really get into spoiler territory, so I won't really say much, but there's a shot with a sink, then there's a shot with a river, in the bay next to the river. I thought those were actually pretty cool. Like a lot of thrillers like this, there are a lot of twists and turns. I was able to guess some of the twists and turns, but really didn't know why that happened or why this happened, but I was able to guess maybe somewhat of what was going to happen. But the reason or reasons or the logic behind these characters and why these twists and turns happen really doesn't make sense and is really poorly executed. Some of these characters really need to be checked into a psych ward. I thought it could have been executed better. Like the whole film, I thought it could have been executed better. It had potential with some better explanations and choices, but really it just fell flat. A lot of the dialogue and acting was cringy, and a lot of choices that were written into the plot were just not smart and definitely could have used a more logical explanation and more logical thinking on the character's part. I don't think I'd recommend this one in the Blumhouse and Amazon Prime collaboration. The Lie was made in 2018 and was released at a film festival, but really hasn't found a home until now. But honestly, after watching it, I can definitely see why. I know this review kind of seemed harsh, but I didn't even hate this movie like a lot of the other reviewers did, but still I did not like it. I, for the most part, don't really like tearing apart movies. That's why I made sure that I was going to give some positives on this one. But not everyone is going to have the same opinions on every film. You might enjoy this film, or it might be a guilty pleasure, or you might even hate it. But remember, everyone has different thoughts and opinions on film. I'm just giving you mine. Film is very subjective. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this film. Since this is a spoiler-free review, try to keep it spoiler-free down there. I was really not expecting this review for The Lie to be this long. On to the next movie. Black Box is that next movie, and this one falls into the hit category for me. After losing his wife and memory in an accident, a now single father struggles to learn about his life and his young daughter again. He undergoes an experimental treatment that has him questioning his own identity. Black Box is written and directed by Emmanuel Osai Kafur. Amanda Christine, who plays the daughter Ava, is a great child actress. She honestly was really one of the high points for me, especially in the first act. Mama Duarte, who plays the main character Nolan, wasn't bad either. Amanda Christine, though, is the highlight here, especially in the first act. I thought she did great portraying a young girl who lost her mother and, in a way, lost her father as well. Her father lost his memory in this accident, so he's not really so sure who she is or who he is and what his life is all about. So she kind of has to be in charge of him and help him along the way, and while dealing with the death of her mother and the fact that her father doesn't really remember her. She's really in charge, in the first act. The dynamic between Nolan and Ava is my favorite part of the first act, and really my favorite part of this whole movie. I really think it's the heart and soul of this film. Felicia Rashad is good in this movie as well. I really enjoyed her presence and performance here. A character goes into a hypnosis-like thing, and I thought that these scenes were very suspenseful. When he was in this state, you really were wondering what was happening, what was going to happen. It was definitely fascinating to see on the screen. The hypnosis reminded me of Get Out, another Blumhouse feature, and also a great film. I was just, like I said, really intrigued in what was going on with this experimental treatment that was being displayed. This is a much more interesting and well-made film than The Lie. In this, there were cool visuals and some better suspense and horror elements. This creature or entity that shows up is pretty creepy. It just really looks and sounds creepy. Another suspenseful and scary element of this film is when this thing is on screen or you hear it off screen. There's a part where a character promises that they won't do something that they've done before, something abusive, and then seconds or minutes later, they are already doing that thing again. That was just something I noticed. I know it's not the biggest deal. Plus, this person was written as an abusive character, and they were abusive in the past, so at least it makes sense with that personality type. But I was just really, you just said you weren't going to do that, and then a second later, you're already doing it. I really liked the story of this movie. I thought it was executed pretty well. It almost reminds me of something Christopher Nolan would do. It's not up to that level at all, but the idea is there. For the most part, I thought it wrapped up pretty well. I enjoyed the climax of this film and was intrigued with the story throughout. Black Box is not without its flaws, but I enjoyed this one a lot. Black Box is way better than The Lie. It has better characters, better actors, better dialogue, and it is better written. I was way more into this story. Out of the first two Welcome to the Blumhouse releases, Black Box is definitely the one I'd recommend. I'll be reviewing Nocturne and Evil Eye soon, but all four of these Welcome to the Blumhouse features for 2020 are on Amazon Prime now. Like the Upside Down on Facebook for updates and more. There's a link down in the description below or on my channel page. There are more reviews coming soon. Click the boxes at the end of this video to see my previous reviews. If you've liked what you've seen, like this video, share my video and the channel with your family and friends, hit that notification bell, subscribe, and come to the Upside Down.